So Yudhishthira was actually quite surprised by the message that he received from Dhritarashtra, because the exact line in that message is that a great person would sacrifice themselves for the many. And so it wasn't even subtle, it was overt that Dhritarashtra was saying, Yudhishthira, sacrifice yourself. And as part of that message, he even said, it's your own fault for leading us to believe you were happy in the forest. And so it's unreasonable now for you to ask for the kingdom. It's so like, how do you even say such a thing with a straight face? But Dhritarashtra did. And it's interesting that Dhritarashtra could say this, actually meaning it. He's actually blaming Yudhishthira for Duryodhana wanting the kingdom. Because I guess Yudhishthira played the game of dice and then went to the forest. So you led Duryodhana to believe he can have the kingdom. And now you can't ask for it back. How delusion can take over our mind. That somebody can actually see reason where one, there's no reason, or two, the reasoning is so flawed. But they can't see the flaw of the reasoning. And this is where we really see emotional thinking. Emotional thinking will follow a reasoning. So, you shouldn't have played the game of dice. You shouldn't have gone to the forest. You shouldn't have let Yudhishthira think like he can have the kingdom. It's your fault. And so emotional thinking can have such, it's not sound reasoning, but it's incredible conviction. I'm right. That feeling of I'm right is so strong, but it's completely emotional thinking that has got no basis of reasoning whatsoever. If you look at reasoning, the kingdom belonged to Pandu. The Dhritarashtra is like a, what's the legal word? Guardian? Trust? Placeholder? The kingdom was never the Dhritarashtra's. And so it can never be Duryodhana's. It was always Yudhishthira's. Then in a game of dice, it was taken over and the conditions were met, right? Even though the game of dice was completely adharmic and not valid in terms of they cheated, Yudhishthira followed the agreement. Now honor the agreement. And this is what happens, right? So Duryodhana cheated in the game of dice. Are we really expecting him to honor an agreement? It's not the kind of personality that is going to honor an agreement, right? We'd like to think so, but it's not going to happen. We can already tell that once the mind has become, once we think it's okay to take advantage of something or to assert our selfishness or to demand attention, power. Once we think it's okay, we don't stop thinking it's okay. So something simple. I give this example often because it's the easiest. Growing up, we were given only 2 pieces of chocolate from the chocolate bar, dairy milk. And so I think till quite an old age, I thought you could only eat 2 pieces of chocolate. But that was all you could eat. Nobody ate more than that was it. And then, of course, one fine day, I saw a friend eat the whole bar. I was like, oh, you could do that? That was that. Of course, I ate the whole bar after that. Now going back to 2 pieces is very hard. So the minute you cross that, now there's no going back. So now this is one of the beautiful things about the symbolism of Lakshman Rekha in the Ramayana. Lakshman Rekha means the line that Lakshman drew to keep Sita safe. And it's the line of Dharma. And so if you stay within this line, you're safe. Literally, that's what Lakshman tells Sita as he goes off to fight the deer. Stay within this line and you will be safe. No harm can come to you. If you cross this line, so we know it's Ravana that takes her, then you're not safe, and 2, we don't know where you'll end up, which is what happens in the Ramayana, right? Sita, as long as she's within that line, she's safe. But Ravana uses, again, emotional thinking. If you don't feed a sadhu, your whole family will suffer from your karmas of disrespect. So immediately, already she's frightened, something might happen to Ram. Then he, scares her that something will happen to your family. Already she's worried something will happen to Ram. She crosses the line. Literally her toes step over. And Ravana pulls her, takes her into the airplane, takes her all the way to Lanka. Yeah, from that line, where did she end up? In Lanka. So how far? Once you cross that line, how far you'll fall? What's this line? It's what we said. Like, whatever happens, I won't do, and then whatever. Won't accept a bribe. Won't lie to the people I love. Won't, whatever it is we choose. It could even be in terms of discipline. Won't wake up after, 8 a.m.? Doesn't matter how late I've slept, I will be awake by 8 a.m. And then you don't cross that line. Right? It can be something as physical and superficial as that, but then you maintain discipline. Or with food, with going out, with Netflix, right? Where no matter what, this line I don't cross. And then the minute you do, literally there's no going back unless you have incredible self-restraint. But usually, no. So too with our emotions. If I feel entitled and I want something, and I cross the line of I don't care who I hurt to get it, then for the next thing I want, and the next thing I want, and the next thing I want, I don't care who I hurt to get it. Whereas that line is very strong. I won't hurt another person. Doesn't matter how much I want it. And we don't cross that line. Right? Like Yudhishthira's lines were so wow. Yudhishthira never crossed his lines. I will listen to my uncle meant, whoa, he listened to his uncle. Even to play the game of dice, knowing full well that they were going to cheat, he listened to his uncle. And this is why Yudhishthira is so glorious. We think life's not so black and white. Yudhishthira should have chilled a little bit. So easy for us to think that, especially because we in Kali Yuga, really, really. Very hard for us to understand um, that ability to sacrifice and endure and to uphold greater values at the cost of whatever it cost. Um, Today, when we hear stories of, Satyug, we think they're unreasonable. And so in Kalyug, people don't think Yudhishthira is reasonable. It's because we can't be like him that we think he's unreasonable. But Yudhishthira really understood this. If you cross the line, it becomes too easy to cross. The line's no longer there. And so adherence to dharma, just don't ever cross it. And that the price he had to pay was huge, so be it. The difference with us is we're not willing to pay that price. And so we'll cross the line. But now there's no more line. Where's dharma? Where is us being protected by dharma? And so we see throughout the Mahabharata that even though the Pandavas went through so much hardship, they were protected by dharma. Bhima was poisoned but wasn't killed. Their house burned down, but they weren't killed. So many other incidences we see. Then even not killed, even that Duryodhana and them took that whole party to go and rub it in their face, it didn't work. Right? Why it didn't work? Yudhishthira's adherence to dharma. If you follow dharma, dharma protects you. Guruji would say, if you protect dharma by following it, dharma protects you. So, but we don't protect it. We're not willing to pay the price necessary to protect it. And everything that we do does have a price. So the Thrashtra's line is, Yudhishthira, you should sacrifice yourself. Let Duryodhana have the kingdom. And actually, that's such a beautiful line. For the greater good, thousands are going to die. The entire society will suffer so much. If one person has to sacrifice themselves to save thousands of lives, they should sacrifice themselves. Who's saying it? Should be able to do it. I can't tell you should sacrifice yourself. That's not sacrificing, right? That's creating a scapegoat. If I tell you to do it, I'm not adhering to the philosophy. I'm making you the scapegoat. Whereas if I really believe this, the Thrashtra says it. If he believed it, then he should have been the one to do it. But like I said, the Thrashtra wasn't willing to pay the price. What was the price that the Thrashtra would have to pay? That Duryodhana doesn't get kingdom. Is that such a horrendous price? To him, that was such a horrendous fight. All of us sitting here in this nice, comfortable room, we think he should have paid the price. Duryodhana need not have gotten kingdom. And then when it's our life, and we have to sacrifice, and it's my kid and my daughter and my husband and my whoever, and they're going to be annoyed as hell with me if I do this. No, I won't do it. We're the same as the Thrashtra. We also tiptoe around them, making them happy, not willing to pay the price that if they annoyed with me, they annoyed with me. What did Yudhishthira do? Yudhishthira paid the price. Draupadi was really annoyed with him. Bhim was really annoyed with him. He paid the price. It takes this level of understanding before we can truly appreciate Yudhishthira. It's easier to appreciate Arjuna. It's easier to appreciate other heroes who, because we like them, we appreciate the choices they make. But we can't appreciate Yudhishthira's choice because we're not strong enough to make that choice. It's not that he was weak, he was strong, and we not as strong. And that's why we don't make that choice. That's why we don't like him, because actually we can't do what he did. So, yeah, Krishna is sent as ambassador. If Krishna volunteers to go on his own accord, after Krishna hears that message from Dhritarashtra, Krishna's actually annoyed. You don't see Avatar infinite being here. You see someone who's really annoyed. I guess that's the perks of taking Avatar, is that they have all these different rasas when they take Avatar. In Vedanta, it's non-dual Brahman, infinite, all-pervading, impartial, immutable. But Krishna hears so much personality. He's like really annoyed. So, like I said, he goes, Duryodhana has this feast planned from him. He goes straight to Vidur's house, which is the story we did last week. Such a beautiful story. So Vidur comes home. Vidur is saying to Krishna, why have you come? Like, I don't think you should go into Duryodhana's court. They don't respect you. They're not going to treat you well. I don't have the heart to send you in that court, Krishna. Don't go. Just stay here. That's also like this, so sweet. And then Krishna starts. I know exactly what they're going to do to me. But I have come for the sheer purpose of letting the world know Vishwa's greatness and why Duryodhana deserves what is going to come to him in this war. They've also come, and he says it in this many words, to make Bhishma and Drona realize they're on the wrong side. What they've done is wrong. And finally, to give them one last chance. Even though I am quite certain they will not understand. So he goes into the court, and the first thing Duryodhana says is, how can you do that to us, Krishna? How could you not come? We prepared the food for you, the bed for you, the room for you. We were so keen. We have so much affection for you. Why did you come? Stay with us. How could you just go straight to Vidur's house? And Krishna, a little bit, sugarcoats. Oh, it's okay. After we talk, I'll come to your house. I'm here now. Little bit this, little bit, niceties, diplomacy. When he wants to, Krishna can be quite the diplomat. And when he wants to not, So Duryodhana is like, but no, you should have come here. So then Krishna thinks enough. And says now very bluntly that I don't eat in the house of those people who are adharmic, and will not put a single morsel in my mouth in your house. It's like, wow, you went from, it's okay, I'll eat with you later, to no, you are scum. It's like, so you can learn diplomacy from Krishna, you can learn bluntness from Krishna. But he says it with a smile because, Krishna's smile is Maya. So even if he's being blunt, we get deluded. But Duryodhana was pretty deluded to start with. So, how much more deluded can he get? So you can imagine now. So firstly, Duryodhana already had the feeling that Krishna was partial to Arjuna. But then he got the whole army from Krishna. So maybe little bit that thought went away. Then maybe he actually in his head thought he would be able to win over Krishna, impress Krishna. So this is something we notice about Duryodhana. When he doesn't get what he wants, he becomes mean. It's interesting with all of us how we react when we don't get what we want. So when we don't get what we want, the natural human emotions are sadness and anger. Anger is also there. All of us do get a little bit angry, varying degrees of angry when we don't get what we want. Like last week, I was telling that lovely man at the Indian embassy, turned red in his face, was not getting the visa. Well, I hope he got it. I don't know. We left before his case was solved. Don't get me. And the anger might not be he wasn't screaming, he wasn't shouting. He was just really red in his face. And like every single person in the room knew he was angry. He was very quiet. So even anger can take different forms. Some people will yell and scream and shout when they're angry. We've all seen those. Usually at the airport when they're checking in luggage and they're overweight, you hear yelling, screaming, shouting, especially flights to India. We try to bully the other person into giving us what we want, right? That's what anger does. So, natural emotion, sadness. Anger is also a natural emotion. Which one do we see more? We definitely see anger more. Which one's more natural? Yeah, sadness. I didn't get it. Yeah, we hide our sadness with anger. 100% we hide our sadness with anger. The problem is we don't even feel it. If I actually felt the sadness, I can heal. Hide sadness with anger, how am I going to heal? I'm not feeling the sad to heal or to get over it. That's why I asked the question, which one do we see more of? Anger. And now it's so fashionable in today's world to be angry. Half the time they don't know what they didn't get. Why are you angry? Just angry. Residual chronic anger, like chronic fatigue syndrome, chronic anger syndrome. But what are you angry about? Just. Just become habit to be annoyed, irritable, bitter. Duryodhana, when he doesn't get what he wants, other emotions. When I don't get what I want, jealous. And like with Duryodhana, revengeful, mean. There's anger. And then this is one of the ways in which the person you can get angry and just be angry, but not hurt anyone with the anger. be angry, yell and scream, but then you also calm down after a while. Can get angry and can become really mean. I mean, anger is not nice in any which way or form. Nobody is nicely angry, but some people are definitely more mean. That was definitely Duryodhana. So I can think, what do you do? When you don't get what you want, what do you do? This week's homework. To get sad, to feel sad, to get angry, which kind of angry? Do we deal with the anger? Do we deal with the sad? And it's okay to get angry. It's okay to have every emotion, but not as an escape. Unfortunately, we make anger the escape. Such an unhealthy escape. Most escapes are not healthy to start with. But emotionally, when this one happens. Okay, so I didn't get what I wanted. There's going to be sadness there. And then in Duryodhana's case, it's not that I didn't get his kingdom, I'm sad. Duryodhana's case, it's I'm not even worthy to be the king. And so there's incredible sadness. And then he is constantly being compared to Yudhishthira. And anyone being compared to Yudhishthira is going to be miserable. Like, there's just no hope of being anywhere close to Yudhishthira. So this is a lose-lose situation here. But the thing is, people wouldn't have compared him to Yudhishthira if he didn't want what was Yudhishthira's. People didn't compare Arjuna to Yudhishthira. They didn't compare Bhim to you, and that's siblings. And if Duryodhana never made claim to the kingdom and was happy to be like Arjuna, Bhim, and all the others, and realized that Yudhishthira is the king and very worthy of being king, nobody would have compared him, and then he wouldn't have been so miserable. But he wanted what Yudhishthira had. He didn't want to be like Yudhishthira. That's not what he wanted. He just wanted to have the things that Yudhishthira had. Kingdom. So now when you want something, you have to meet qualifications. If you want to become a doctor, you have to do that. Wait, it's very long. 6 years, then 3 years, and then you have to actually study also. You can't just sleep through the classes. You have to pass. You have to actually know what you're doing. You have to have the qualifications. Then you can be doctor. So if I want something, I have to have the qualifications to be able to get it. Qualifications to be king. Bhishmacharya before him had. The king before Yudhishthira is Bhishma. Pandu also had. Actually, Pandu ruled. Don't know if y'all remember. Pandu was an awesome king. Long ago now. So many classes ago we spoke about Pandu. After that, he went all, his story changed quite drastically. But when he was king, he was an awesome king. Before that, Vichitra Veer didn't rule the kingdom. Bhishma ruled the kingdom. Before that, Shantanu ruled the kingdom. Amazing king. So in the lineage, the kings were amazing. Shantanu was an amazing king. Bhishmacharya was an amazing king. Pandu was an amazing king. And Yudhishthira would have been, and when the short time he was an amazing king. So if you want something, you have to have the qualifications to be able to get it. When we don't have the qualifications to get it, we feel inadequate, which then makes us, again, actually sad. But it will manifest as anger. He could have made himself adequate, because there's no such thing that you can't. Every single one of us can become whatever it is we want to become. So I love to sing. So if I sat with a teacher, paid attention, spent 3-4 hours a day, or whatever, however many hours in a week that's needed, I'm sure I'll be amazing. But I don't do that. And so I'm not an amazing singer. So do I have a right to feel inadequate as a singer? I haven't put in the work. Put in the work. And then let's say I do put in the work. Let's say my voice is not as sweet as somebody else's voice. Because that's just when you're birth, what you're born with. Then am I inadequate? No. Because whatever I can do in terms of skill and talent to cultivate, I've done. Now this is just taste. Who prefers which voice? So Duryodhana felt inadequate because Yudhishthira is so amazing and he got to compare to Yudhishthira. And it turned to jealousy, anger, meanness. But he at no point tried to make himself adequate. Instead, he always used devious means to get what he wanted. Cheated in the game of death. Got his father to tell Yudhishthira to do things. Even the way he got Shalya to be in his army last week. He always used underhanded ways. How can you become adequate when you do that? Right? So when we feel inadequate, and all of us can empathize with somebody feeling inadequate, because we've all felt, whether it be sibling rivalry and we feel inadequate because they are smarter, prettier, thinner, taller, nicer, friendlier, more in whatever. Or we, compared to somebody else in society and we just, wasn't deemed as successful as per whatever criteria society gives us. We can all understand that feeling. And it's a horrible feeling. But then when we left with this feeling of feeling inadequate, solution is to meet the criteria that makes me achieve the thing I desire. Because like in the beginning I said, everything has a price. To adhere to Dharma has a price. Not adhering to Dharma has a price. And then pay the price. And we become adequate. But unfortunately, like Duryodhana, so many of us will feel inadequate and do nothing about it. Yeah. Or use underhanded ways, but that won't help us feel adequate. If I cheat on a test, I'm not going to feel adequate when I get those great marks. And so even Duryodhana, he won the kingdom, cheating on the game of dice. Did he feel adequate? No, everyone's still praising Yudhishthira. Because he didn't meet the criteria. He could have. He had Bhishma there as a teacher. He had Drona there as a teacher. If he had wanted to, he could have learned how to be an amazing king. He could have actually met the criteria and became a good king. In fact, when he chose Karna to be his friend, the people in the kingdom praised him. So the people in the kingdom wouldn't have rejected him if he actually met the criteria. Krishna wouldn't have made the statement if he actually met the criteria. So put in the necessary efforts to be able to gain the thing it is we desire. And Duryodhana didn't want to. So somebody puts in necessary effort and maybe out of ignorance or maybe out of lack of skill, then they forgive him. But this war, why is Duryodhana standing on the side of adharma? He didn't put in the necessary effort. He didn't want to put in the necessary effort. He just wanted what he wanted, no matter what the cost. And getting what he wanted, which he did, he got the kingdom, it didn't fulfill him. So he continued being mean. If you got what you want, be happy now. No. Adharma. Whereas Yudhishthira didn't get what he wanted, well, he didn't want the war to be fought. So in that sense, he got that. He got sent to exile. And sure, it wasn't easy in exile. He had moments of peace. He had moments of horror also. But so much satsang, so much gratitude, so much love. Constant company of Krishna. Krishna went and visited them something like 6 or 7 times in that span of however many years it was. Okay, Duryodhana becomes mean. So when Krishna says, I want to eat in a house where they follow a dharma. When you read this line, you're like, oh, will he come to our house? Like, will he eat our food like we offer prasad in puja? Will he accept it? Actually, very interesting to watch. That way, even the prasad that gets offered, it's very interesting to watch what happens to it when different people offer prasad. Does he accept it? So he says he doesn't if you are doing it that well. And in Gita in chapter 9, he says he will accept anything given to him with love. So you can give him something really nice, but if you're doing a dharma, he doesn't accept it. And young boy was worshipping Shiva. Yeah, Shiva. From a tribal village. He didn't know the rituals. So he gave meat as prasad with the blood oozing and everything. Which for, if you've grown up Hindu, it's like, ah! Shiva accepted. He also gave alcohol. Which is why now Shiva Bhaktas think it's okay. But Shiva accepted. But he didn't know better. It was like Shabri. They had zero exposure. They lived in the forest, in a tribe. They didn't know. Literally from the outskirts of the forest, looking into the city, they saw somebody worshipping Shiva. They also wanted to worship. And so out of his love, what was his name? Such a sweet little boy. What was his name? He offers meat and he offers alcohol, and Shiva accepts it because it was offered with love. But it's not the alcohol and the meat that he accepted. And then, of course, deluded, foolish people will use this story. But we not ignorant, we well educated. So if we saying offering alcohol in the name of Shiva, he's not going to accept it. He doesn't accept if we do a dharma. You know, in some ways, in Vedanta, this non-dual, nameless, formless God seems very cold. And so nice to have Krishna eating banana peels, and so nice to have Krishna, coming to Vidur's house and having all this jam. And then here he makes one comment like this, and you think, whoa, let's go back to non-dual, nameless, formless God, who's not so harsh. He's not going to accept us if we do a dharma. Like, this is now suddenly very scary. Bhakti has its pros and cons. Vedanta has its pros and cons. So the meeting starts. Actually, I think at around about this point, Duryodhana kidnaps or tries to imprison Krishna. I tried to check before the class started if it happens before or after, but I couldn't find the section. So let's give Duryodhana courtesy and say it happened before, because if it happens, I think it happened after, but really, then he's really dense. Let's hope he's not that dense. I'll confirm next week. But at some point, Duryodhana literally throws Krishna in jail. And now you're looking horrified, right? Like, we all know Krishna's God. How can Duryodhana throw him in jail? Duryodhana doesn't get what he wants, he becomes me. The beautiful thing about the Mahabharata is we can all check. What are we doing when we don't get what we want? When Yudhishthira didn't get what he wants, 100% acceptance. When Arjuna didn't get what he wants, what did Arjuna do? Huh? I don't remember. Followed instructions. Went to Narad Muni, went to Krishna, went to Yudhishthira. Tell me what to do. The whole 12 years, 14 years, however many years they were in exile, Arjuna followed instructions. Actually, Arjuna, it's rare for Arjuna not to get what he wants. He usually got what he wants, especially all his brides. He got whoever he wanted. There were many times he didn't, right? They weren't in the kingdom for so long. What did he do? Tapas. I didn't get what I want. I'll work harder for it. That's the way Arjuna responded to not getting what he wanted. I'll work harder for it. Arjuna already worked really hard, huh? As students, Arjuna was the hardest working student. He stayed up at night to practice the archery so he could be better at it. He stayed back after classes to listen to all the additional instructions that Drona. Which student does this? Not me, I didn't do all this. Follow the teacher around at night. Arjuna worked really hard as a student. Then he didn't get what he wanted. Kingdom got taken away from him. What did he do? Tapas. Prayed to Lord Shiva, got Shiva's darshan. I didn't work hard enough last time. I'll get Shiva's darshan now. You see if I won't get what I want. So, Yudhishthira will sacrifice what he wanted. Arjuna didn't sacrifice what he wanted. He worked harder to get what he wanted. What did Bhim do? Bhim was waiting. And if it wasn't for Yudhishthira, Bhim would not have waited. He would have just gone and got what he wanted. Bulldozed, little bit bully, little bit. Bhim is little bit bully. Even Karna. What did Karna do when he didn't get what he wanted? Y'all remember? He lied so he can get what he wanted. Couldn't get Guru to teach him, he lied. He couldn't get recognition. Again, when he entered the court, it wasn't his place. I know you'll all feel sorry for him. To get what he wanted, he sided Duryodhana. He chose adharma. To get what he wanted, he was willing to do adharma. Y'all might like him. Just introspect, what do you do when you don't get what you want? What did the Drashtra do when he didn't get what he wanted? He sulked. Really, that's what the Drashtra do. He sulked his whole life. Some serious sulking he did. What did Kunti do when she didn't get what she wanted? Or Draupadi. You cannot, both actually. You don't answer? Prayed. So nice, no? The Mahabharata. Which one are we? Are we Draupadi? Are we Karna? Are we Duryodhana? Are we Bhim? Are we Arjuna? Are we Yudhishthira? What do we do when we don't get what we wanted? So anyways, Krishna told Duryodhana, I won't eat in your house because you do adharma. Not a single morsel he will take from a house that does adharma. You are as good as my enemy, is what he says. His words, not mine. Krishna's enemy, those who do adharma. Telling you, Vedantic nameless formless God is sounding very good now. Next time you do anything slightly adharma, you're going to be like, Krishna is going to think of me as his enemy. He's also very forgiving. Not to Duryodhana, but I mean, Duryodhana throws him in jail and he still forgives Duryodhana. What happens now? Krishna stands in the court and looks at Bhishmacharya, Dronacharya, the Drashtra, and says, this is your fault. This adharma is happening and it's your fault. Krishna is really holding everyone accountable. Like Draupadi did it 12 years ago and it didn't have effect. Krishna is doing it now. It doesn't have. This is why Draupadi is so amazing. It's not that Draupadi did it and failed. Krishna is also failing. He looks at them and tells them, you are allowing adharma right now. Lock Duryodhana, Dushashan, Shakuni, and Karna up. Do not listen to them. Give the kingdom back to Yudhishthira now. There's no sugarcoating. He's forgotten sugarcoating. No diplomacy whatsoever. And all the blood of this war is on your hands. Bhishma is the first. Bhishma says, listen to him. Give the kingdom to Yudhishthira. Duryodhana has no right, and listen to him, throw Duryodhana in jail. Duryodhana should not have thrown Krishna in jail. We should be throwing Duryodhana in jail. Bhishma is not just saying it, Bhishma means it. Now you must remember that Bhishma has initially didn't see Duryodhana's wickedness, right? He didn't realize the extent to which Duryodhana. The minute Bhishma sees it, Bhishma doesn't want it. He is completely on the side of Yudhishthira. He was even at the end of the game of dice on Yudhishthira's side. He didn't take Draupadi's side, but at the end, after what happened to Draupadi, he did say, give back kingdom to Yudhishthira, which they did. And then they brought it back again. So from then already he was, and from this moment on, not this moment on, when they fought the Pandavas in Virat's kingdom. Remember Vidula on the chariot and they fighting, and that moment on, Bhishma Acharya is incredibly vocal about Pandavas are right, Arjuna is amazing, we should give them the kingdom. So right now in the court, while they're talking, Karna stands up and says something about, you all think you're so great because you have Arjuna. Something to that effect. The dialogue is very intense, lots of back and forth there. And Bhishma stops Karna and says, sit down, stop talking. Just last week when you had to fight, you got off your chariot and ran for your life. That was to Arjuna. Now you're going to say he's not a good warrior? Chup. Silences Karna. Like so Karna cannot say two words in front of Bhishmacharya from now onwards. So Duryodhana also. Now you have followed the dharma, we have spoiled you. We should have killed you at birth, like Vidur said. Vidur had told the Dhritarashtra to kill Duryodhana when Duryodhana was born. Maybe a bit much. But definitely don't allow him to be king. So, Drona also a little bit talks, but Drona doesn't talk much. Little bit. At this point, oh my gosh, Duryodhana stands up and he talks. It's so foul, I don't want to repeat it. Dushashan also gets up and talks. What they say, I don't know how people can say such things only. If you all want to know, you all can read. I will give you a page number. I'm not going to say it. It's so disgusting that they can even think that way. They're so insulting. They're so self-righteous, so arrogant. Then again, Krishna says, I am come here to help you save your life, because if this war is fought, not a single person will be left standing on the Kaurava side. Krishna tells them. The Dhritarashtra yearns. This is also another thing about this Dhritarashtra. He sulks and he's a scaredy cat, but he doesn't do anything. He gets really scared when he hears Krishna say that. This is also an interesting thing about life. The Dhritarashtra is so scared, that Duryodhana is going to die in this war and that he's going to lose Duryodhana and it's going to be a horrendous death. And he's scared of this already from when Duryodhana is born and Vidur said, you should rather just kill him now because his life is going to be so miserable. He's scared the whole time. And then he has to live it because it happens. And then he has to live with it after it happens. And so we see this in some people's lives. They live their whole life being scared of something. only to have it happen. And then they have to live that it has happened. Again, he knew what he had to do for it not to happen. What did he have to do? Give Yudhishthira his kingdom. Tell Duryodhana, it's not yours. It never was. You can't have it. He would have been grumpy, annoyed, and alive. Give him something else to do. Train him from when he was young only. No. What do we do when we don't get what we want? Or when we're scared of not getting what we want? So much energy, only for it to happen. And I've seen this in quite a few people's lives. But they won't do what's needed. Why? They don't want to pay that price. You're going to pay a price. The price Duryodhana, the Thrashtra pays is he loses Duryodhana. He paid a price. What the price he didn't want to pay was not to make Duryodhana upset. The price for not making Duryodhana upset was watch Duryodhana be killed. Do we even realize the prices we're paying for the things we're doing? So he got what he wanted. What did he want? Don't upset Duryodhana. Actually, he didn't get what he wanted because Duryodhana was permanently upset only. But he didn't want to upset Duryodhana. He didn't get what he wanted. He only thought he could get what he wanted. The price he paid, such a big price, man. He didn't watch only Duryodhana die. Huh? He had 100 sons. He watched 100 sons die. So what does he do now? Everything comes to him. Bhishma says, give Yudhishthira kingdom back. Drona says, give Yudhishthira the kingdom back. Now it's Vidur has been saying, give Yudhishthira kingdom back from like birth. So like, Vidur is very consistent. You have to love Vidur. What does Vidur do when he doesn't get what he wants? He sticks to his convictions. He's a broken record. Love Vidur. He's the voice of reason. So now it's up to the Thrashtra. Is he going to give kingdom back? Krishna standing there. He's saying, give kingdom back. He's such a one, really, the Thrashtra. He says, go and call Gandhari. Who's Gandhari? His wife, Duryodhana's mother. Even now, he's not making a decision. He's not choosing. He's not being brave. He's not being strong. He's not doing what's right. He's petrified. Duryodhana is going to die in this war. Call Gandhari. Gandhari comes. She's not like him, huh? She's an incredibly strong woman. As strong as Draupadi is Gandhari. Really. Even Ravana's wife, Mandodari, amazing woman. They say behind every great man, there's a great woman. Even behind useless men, there's great women. Because Gandhari is phenomenal. What does she do? Firstly, Gandhari was the one who said, when the game of dice happened, it was Gandhari that said, give them back their kingdom. You're won by cheating. That was Gandhari. Now what does she do? She looks at Duryodhana and says, give the kingdom back to Yudhishthira. Who? His mother, queen. It is my fault that I did not bring you up better, that you are following a dharma. You have not done a single thing right. Krishna said, I won't eat in a house that follows a dharma. Gandhari is too good. Firstly, she says it as it is. You have not done a single thing right. She takes full responsibility as the mother, and she tells him what is right. Give the kingdom back. By now, Dhritarashtra should be convinced. Krishna did a little bit better than Draupadi. He got Bhishma, Drona, and Gandhari to say, give back the kingdom. Duryodhana at this point gets up and says, I will not give Yudhishthira even the amount of land that fits on a needle. Do not be mistaken. With so much arrogance, he says it also. Do not be mistaken, Krishna. I will not even give that much land that fits on a needle. Because, there was this whole, give us 5 villages, give us 1 village, but 5 houses, give us 1 house with 5 rooms, give us nothing. He said, I will not give that much land that will fit on top of the needle. Now, Krishna does the most amazing thing ever here. So, this is where you see, right? So, Krishna said he won't eat in a house where there's a dharma, and that anyone who is a dharma is his enemy. Adharmic is his enemy. And so then here you see this incredible stark black and white. God will love and befriend only those who are virtuous. And then what does he do? He gives Vishwaroop darshan to all these people who are dharmic. And so suddenly that stark black and white again is gone. Because rishis meditate for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. Oh, I forgot one very important part. Wait, stop. When Krishna was walking from Vidur's house to walk into the palace, Narad Muni, Veda Vyasa, and something like 1,000 rishis were standing outside. And Duryodhana and everyone were really amazed, why are all these rishis here? And they all followed Krishna into the hall. Now we know why they were all here. They all knew. They were going to get Vishwa. They showed up, not to see the Duryodhana in this exchange. They were like, we've meditated for years. This Duryodhana is not going to get the Vishvaroop darshan with that. I'm going to be here for sure. So there were 1,000 rishis sitting in that hall, including Narad Muni and Veda Vyasa. The Vishwaroop darshan is described in both the Gita and in the Mahabharata. And it can't possibly be described. Vishwa means universe. Well, it means world, but in this case, universe. What really fascinates me about Vishwaroop darshan is, so we usually see time as linear, but in Vishwaroop darshan, time is a dimension. So you see past, present, and future all in one. Already that's going to be so disorientating. Imagine you shrink time to make it static. Imagine you shrink space. So all of space that exists in all places Suddenly you can see in this one. How can our mind possibly fathom what that's like? We couldn't possibly fathom what that looks like. All of time and all of space in just one glance. So it's described as thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of hands and thousands and thousands and thousands of legs. But that just looks messy. Right? That doesn't sound amazing. Imagine, sometimes artists try and show it with like planets and the sun and the moon and the trees and the rivers, and they try and show how incredibly beautiful it would be. But and more than beautiful, I think it, because there is the scary aspect of the Vishwaroop darshan where you see death. But more than, beautiful or ugly, it just would be so far beyond what we perceive to be reality. Like literally, when we watch a movie and it's just an hour and a half, and everything just happened in that movie in an hour and a half, and then actually after that, it's so insignificant. Imagine our whole world just being like one little small advertisement and then just so insignificant in the vastness of all of creation and existence. And who got to see that? Duryodhana. Dushashan, Karna, Shapani, Dhritarashtra. Oh, this was notable. Dhritarashtra is blind. He could see it. And he is scaredy cat anyway. Wow, he gets scared after seeing this. Why could he see it? Krishna wanted him to see. Everybody in that room saw it because Krishna wanted them to see it. Why would Krishna give Vishwaroop darshan to all these people after not eating one morsel of food in their house? At least now give Yudhishthira the kingdom back. I've shown you I am God. I've shown you on Yudhishthira's side. Now give kingdom back. If you think Duryodhana was stubborn, do we listen? You're thinking, yeah, but I did. Krishna told you, you listen. Krishna tells us all the time, right? Give up attachment. Every chapter of the Gita, at least 3 times, he says, give up attachment. We're giving up? No, we're not giving up. We do Duryodhana only. Work for the joy of working, not for desire. Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 5, Chapter 6. How many times he said it? Are we listening? We know it's Krishna, right? Duryodhana maybe didn't know it's Krishna. We know it's Krishna. We know Krishna is God. Krishna is telling us. So hard his job is. So strong our delusion is. We'll pause here for today. Homework. Y'all know what's your homework. What do you do when you don't get what you want? See this week. Introspect. Try and be Yudhishthira. You can't be Yudhishthira, be Arjuna. You can't be Arjuna, be Draupadi. Do you all remember what they did? I'm not going to repeat. You can listen to recording because Zoom is amazing and records everything. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkhabhag bhavet, asato ma sargamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Hari